Sporty World Cup greetings to all of our Voice of America listeners and viewers. You are on goal with Sonny and Muqbil. We have Jackson Mvunganyi in the studio with us as well. Jackson, talk to me about Croatia versus Brazil, my man.
First of all, it's an honor to finally make it to the studio. I was engaging with you guys on the other side of the Atlantic, and finally I'm here on the go with the Sonny and Muqbil.
You can feel the energy,
I felt
right?
the energy from that far, and I can still feel it in here. Listen, such a heartbreaker for Brazil, man. You know, everybody wants to see the Samba boys play in the finals. That, you know, the way they play their game, the artistry and everything. But, you know, this was Croatia's time, and, you know, they pulled it off. What a surprise.
You know, I thought the goalkeeper for Croatia, Dominic Livakovic, he was just outstanding, Muqbil.
Yeah, no, Sonny, I definitely agree. He's been great in so many other games, right? This was not his first rodeo when it came to PKs as well. Having done such a wonderful job against the Japanese, this young man really has an amazing future ahead. I believe he plays for a Croatian side at the moment, but best believe the big clubs will be calling.
Oh yeah. His agent must be really happy right now. Yeah, absolutely.
You know, before that match, the Brazil-Croatia match, there was a lot of talk about the Brazilians and their goal celebrations, how they love to dance. But I thought that celebration by Petkovic after he equalized was a pretty good goal celebration.
It was a nice dance. It was very samba-like.
Samba, that's the word, exactly. You know, samba-like dance.
I feel like that's what happens sometimes too, though, right? When you win, if you win with a little more grace, it kind of helps you moving forward. You know, having scored those 4 goals against South Korea, and them just kind of like, you know, almost, I wouldn't say gloating, but, you know, confidence is one thing, but you got to kind of move around that level. It's difficult.
I think they're enjoying the underdog status, you know, like the dark horse, you know, sort of. They don't want to over-celebrate and then, you know, create these expectations. They just want to low-key about it. You know, we want this. Let's go for the next one. Right. We don't want to create any expectations. People thinking that we are the big team, that, you know, the big team to beat. Right. You know, so...
What about the penalty kick shootout, Muqbil? Croatia has now won all 4 penalty kick shootouts in a World Cup. They beat the Japanese on penalty kicks. Yeah. They beat the Brazilians on penalty kicks.
Yeah, honestly, I feel like when you go to penalty kicks, it becomes anybody's game. If you're the team that folks expected to win, because you got to understand, Brazil came into this World Cup ranked number 1. Also, that's another bit of bad luck because no number 1 ranked FIFA team has won the World Cup ever. So I think Brazil was trying to get over that hump, but having come into this, I think a lot of folks knew if this game goes to PK, there's too much pressure on the Samba boys, and they kind of unfortunately showed that. Having scored that goal by Neymar so late, what did they have? 7 minutes?
7 minutes.
7 minutes to hold the fort down, but somehow the Croatians had one shot on goal. On goal.
Unbelievable.
And it went down. Oh my goodness. What an opportunity.
I think you make a great point. When it comes to penalties, it's anybody's game at that point. And, you know, you've seen some of the greatest teams lose on penalties, just like the Brazilians. Right now, this is one of those games that is going to be in the annals of history. We remember how Brazil lost to Croatia in penalties.
Jackson, the most interesting thing about that is sometimes when you look at penalties, you kind of look at it and it looks like it might be 50-50 here and there. But then from the Moroccan side, we seen goalkeeper Yassine Bounou, the way that he analyzes the kicker, it's almost as if he fakes you out a little bit, but at the same time looks at your foot. So that there is so much about it that the goalie has to follow as well. And I felt like, unfortunately, Alisson, the Brazilian goalkeeper, wasn't really doing a lot to kind of, you know, put that fear in the Croatian players. He was kind of letting them set the pace for what was going on. The first 2, I believe, went straight down the middle. And after that is all she wrote.
Got to give a shout out for Neymar.
Yes.
He put the Brazilians ahead 1-0 in extra time. And that goalie scored the 77th of his national team career. He's now tied with the legendary Pele.
Oh, wow.
And Jackson, Pele still hospitalized in Sao Paulo.
I saw a tweet a while ago saying that he's watching from his, from the bed.
What do you think in terms of like Neymar down the road lifting the World Cup trophy like Pele did?
Neymar still has some years ahead of him. He's still a young guy. I think he probably play again in the World Cup. He's getting progressively better. He's one of those players that I remember watching him break his leg in which was the World Cup in Brazil.
I think it was.
And I thought that was the end of his career. But he has been able to jump back in the last couple of years. Has been progressively getting better. So I think Pele has he's right now watching and saying that I have some young men that are behind me that are coming, that are following in my footsteps, and is happy about the progression of people like Pele, of people like Neymar.
And we certainly wish Pele well.
Yes, absolutely.
And hope he,
get well soon,
is back home again soon.
Absolutely. Gentlemen, we have on the line with us, straight from Doha, Qatar, we have Kahli, Abdu, and Sunday Shomari. Gentlemen, talk to me about the atmosphere after that Brazil loss.
Hey, I'm telling you, I mean, the location I was, to tell you the truth, Muqbil, was like putting cold water.
Man.
He's right. The atmosphere it was a lot of Brazilian fans.
Yeah.
Every touch, Brazil only needed to touch the ball and you would hear screams and you would turn and think it was a goal. So, it was like he said, those people they got quiet pretty fast after the final whistle.
Kahli, Sonny here in Studio 2. Were you surprised when Petkovic equalized for the Croatians? Because I certainly felt that the Brazilians were headed to victory after Neymar's goal. What was your reaction?
Well, to tell you the truth, I wasn't surprised that he scored. I was surprised that he scored then, but I was telling him that Croatia have a goal in them and it would be really difficult. I told him that Croatia may drag them into extra time, but I just didn't see them scoring in extra time like that. When Brazil, like you guys were saying earlier, had the game pretty much in the bag. It was surprising to say the least.
Absolutely. Gentlemen, talk to us about the Moroccans, man. Morocco is lifting up the flag for Africa at the moment. What do you think their chances are against this Portuguese team who has shown us that they've really came out gunning the last game?
Well, to me, I don't know about you, but to me, I think it's the same thing. What did we think about Brazil after scoring 4 goals in the first half and done deal? And this morning, they were saying they will finish the game early. They said, get in, get a win, get a goal, and just relax. Like get in, get paid, and get out. They were like, this is the game plan. But guess what? Things changed. And I was telling Kahli, now the game changed. They couldn't get that goal early as they wanted to. Things are changing. So frustration is building up. You're going to the second half. You're going to the final minutes. You're going to the extra time. Done. Plan B, Plan C, Plan D didn't work out.
No, they had one plan. Plan A to win.
Well, Sunday and Kahli, we were talking about the Croatian goalkeeper and how big he was against the Brazilians. And Muqbil earlier mentioned Banu, the Moroccan goalkeeper. One guy like that, if he's on fire and he's stopping shots, anything's possible. How important has he been to the Moroccan team's success in Qatar?
Yeah, he's been very, very instrumental, that's for sure. But let me go back to your point. I think Morocco will need to have the game of their lives against Portugal because, make no mistake, Brazil had all their work cut out for them against Croatia. It'll be a different game. I'll tell you why. Because tactically, Croatia, I think they've been very pragmatic throughout the tournament. If you watch them, they've switched tactics throughout the tournament. It's like different tactics for different teams. And I don't think Brazil expected them to have that kind of... They play like some kind of mid-block and just control the ball in the middle of the park all night long. Brazil didn't expect that, I don't think. I think that would be a different game because Morocco might play a lower block and just try to hold the fort. And like you say, Bono will be busy. He would need to have a beautiful day if they would, if they would progress. So it may be a different game where you may see Portugal just hammering all night long and Morocco looking for a chance to catch them on a break. It won't be the same as the game we watched tonight where Croatia pretty much just kept controlling the ball in the middle of the park. So they would really need to be on their toes all night because, as you know, the striker, the kid Ramos, he's
something
no
else.
joke. You know?
Yeah.
The hat trick hero.
Yeah.
Hat trick hero.
Yeah.
He could score from anywhere through anything, so they would really need to be on there. Bono would need to be on his A game for sure.
Guys, now that the Samba boys are out, we know the pageantry that surrounds the Samba boys, the colors, the celebrations. Do you expect the noise in the stadiums to quiet down?
Oh no. Well, I'll tell you, it depends what happened with Argentina tonight.
Yeah.
Because there are so many Argentinian fans in here too. At the same time, if you remember the other day when Brazil won, you go to Souk Wakif, they're singing Brazil, and this guy's coming up singing. I'm like, wait a minute, who won here, Brazil or Argentina?
So you may find that the Brazilian fans are sticking around to rub one in, depending on how the Argentina game goes.
Yeah, it depends on this Argentina game for sure.
Right.
Well, speaking of the fans, I know the Moroccan fans have had great support there in Qatar. In their last match against Spain, it seemed like at least half the stadium was Moroccan fans. What role do you think they'll have, gentlemen, in this match upcoming against Portugal?
I think Morocco will have time of their life.
Yeah.
They have a lot of support. We were talking to all these Moroccans in this city. You have Moroccans who live here, number one. You have Moroccans who travel from Saudi Arabia, from the USA where you guys are, from Africa, from all over, coming to support. And not only that, it's an army of Moroccans, but also they have support of Algeria, Tunisia, and all those African countries. In the northern, everybody's like, you know what? We are supporting Morocco.
The entire Arab world is behind them.
Yes.
So, Saudis, people from Oman, everybody who supports the Arab world supports Morocco. On top of that, you have every African support. So they are the home team right now.
Oh, yeah.
Absolutely. Gentlemen, I want to ask one more question. As it pertains to the Brazilians and the Samba boys being out, what are your thoughts on the rest of the teams being in and almost kind of taking a deep breath and saying, man, we didn't want to go through these guys. Having Croatia knock them out is something we're really happy about. What do you think about the rest of the teams that are in the tournament still and how they feel about the Samba boys being out?
I think Argentina is very happy. What do you think?
Yeah, for sure.
We're talking about that.
But there was a time when we were here and we talked to some fans from Argentina. I remember asking them if they wanted to meet Brazil in the final, and they said no. They would prefer to meet them in the semifinals, so only one of them goes through. So that was a very interesting thing for me. I think that they may have wanted to meet each other in semifinal. There's some kind of grudge thing going on there. But to answer your question, I'm very interested to see what happens tomorrow between France and England. It's a huge game as well. The English have been very confident throughout the tournament, but then now you see that they're a little, apprehensive, scared of what Mbappe might do. So that's an interesting one coming up for sure.
Oh, yeah.
I'm sure most of these teams are breathing a sigh of relief after Brazil leaving.
Absolutely.
Oh, yeah.
But they have to go through Mbappe, or Harry Kane, and those other. It doesn't get any easier. But for sure, it's easier that Brazil aren't going to factor in for sure.
Kahli, Abdu, and Sunday Shomari joining us from Doha, Qatar. Thank you, gentlemen. We'll be right back on Goal with Sonny and Muqbil and Jackson after this break.
It is the biggest sports event of the year, the 2022 World Cup in Qatar. Join VOA to celebrate Africa's King sport. In-depth coverage, breakout stars, Cinderella teams, coaches, players, and let's not forget the fans from the four corners of the continent and from the city of Doha. Don't miss the fun with Team VOA Africa. Let's experience the magic of football together.
Together, you're on goal with Sonny and Muqbil and Jackson Mvunganyi joining us here in Studio 2. Jackson, I know you were in Ghana recently, gauging reaction to the Black Stars. Maybe off the pitch, what was maybe your big moment on your first trip to Ghana?
Listen, I had many big moments. First of all, I was there to capture the energy and the vibe in the city, and they did not fail me. There's so much love for the Black Stars. You know, if your team is playing at the World Cup, believe me, you're paying attention, whether you're a soccer fan or not. And the other thing was the jerseys. I feel like, it's my opinion, but I think the Black Stars have the best jerseys.
They got a great jersey.
Yes, and the whole city was wearing jerseys. So everywhere you go, everybody was wearing, like they had different variations. Mm-hmm. Beautiful, beautiful. It was so nice to see that energy and the color in the city. Of course, there was disappointment after they lost their first match, which they thought they could have easily won. Then, you know, they were able to beat South Korea. I was watching at this fan park that was set up by Ghana Broadcasting Corporation, their sports channel, GTV Plus. Okay. Shout out to you guys for hosting me. And there was like hundreds of people just watching there, drumming, beating drums. It was fun even during the time when they would lose. People would not stop dancing and drumming. It was just energy to the 100 all the way through. It was beautiful. I enjoyed my time there. I think, you know, I would love to go back 4 years. I'm sure the Black Stars again will represent. It was a little anticlimactic the way they lost in that match, especially that they build up to that, you know, the tension building up to the Uruguay match. Everybody was like, this is our moment. Right. We are avenging. We are revenging. We talked about this when I was there before the match. And, you know, it kind of fizzled out. The moment just came and went by. Yeah. And I felt like, you know, like everybody felt like there was not, at least one goal would have been enough to, you know, I think the only redeeming aspect of that game was the fact that also Uruguay is not moving on. So that was the only thing they were able to hold on to. But overall, I had a time of my life.
Great.
I enjoyed it.
Once a team is eliminated at the World Cup, I realize same thing with the USA. Yeah. Once they lose and Ghana loses. You don't think about them anymore. Well, who's left? Who's left in this tournament?
And here's to that point, right? We had 32 teams in this World Cup, and as you know, for the next World Cup, they're planning on expanding, right? Mm-hmm. 48 teams, right? Yes. So just think about this, right? For it to be 32 teams, and we saw the hustle and bustle of the first beginning of the tournament, because the tournament was only about a month long, right? And we've seen so many games back to back to back to back, where we're just finally starting to cool off a little bit, having a couple of days in between or whatever. But knowing that 48 teams are going to be playing in this tournament, what are your thoughts on that? What is that? What is that? Is it the Hunger Games?
Yeah.
Yeah, if they stick with 4 teams to each group, and I think they will, you're going to add a few more groups.
A few more groups, yeah.
Right.
And that's a lot of matches.
Yeah.
A lot of matches.
Yeah.
I think, if my calculations are correct, Africa at the next World Cup will have at least 9 teams.
There we go.
9 teams.
Right.
There we go.
Right now they have 5.
Yes. Right.
So almost double. Okay. And then there's a possibility of another African team, depending if they win.
On Morocco,
if they win some type of interconfederation playoff.
Oh, right.
So I mean, Africa could double its representation.
With 54 countries, you'd think we'd have a little more representation on the continent.
So there are countries that have 1 billion people that don't have a team at the World Cup. So.
This is valid. Hey, I'm here advocating more African
teams in the World Cup. Listen, the energy. If they expanded, and how many groups is it right now? Up to
8 groups. I think it's 8. Yeah, 8.
If they expand that, more African countries in there, more African investment into soccer, it's going to be beautiful.
Yeah.
It's going to be a time of our lives.
Yeah.
I remember looking forward to the World Cup when I was a kid. I didn't get that energy this time around.
Right.
And I feel like when we have more African countries in the World Cup, you're going to
right, and that's a great point too. Like me growing up, I loved the World Cup too, but I was supporting the Samba boys.
Yeah,
like Somalia wasn't in the World Cup, so
and that's a good point, Muqbil, because I think we're going to see more teams making their debut at the World Cup.
Absolutely, I think it's going to be great for the entire the spreading of the game, right? Of spreading of the wealth. There we go. That's a great point, because at the end of the day, we've seen so many different teams make it to the World Cup, but unfortunately, when it comes to the top and the pinnacle, it's been but a few handful of teams. And this tournament
teams.
There we go. And this tournament is showing us something slightly different with the underdogs coming in and really knocking down some of these big boys that just thought that this was a gimme game.
The legacy teams.
Right.
Yeah.
You know, I was thinking when I mentioned the wealth of the game and how it is spread around, a player we talked about when you were in Ghana, Mohamed Kudus.
Yes.
I think he has raised his financial
Listen.
profile quite a bit based on his performance.
I'm quite sure there are many teams in Europe right now that are trying to write checks for him. His agent is busy on the calls.
Right.
Okay. So there are many players like Kudus that have made an impact during this World Cup.
What better stage?
Absolutely.
I mean,
biggest platform. And if you do your best and you shine and the news media is on you and you're doing things that are not expected, I'm telling you, your bank is going to look good. You're going to be happy.
Any other African players, Muqbil, that you think have really done well in terms of maybe moving to a bigger club?
Abdelhamid Sabiri from the Moroccan side definitely would love to get on a bigger team. He plays for Serie A, but at the moment it's not one of the bigger clubs. So I'm sure people are keeping their eyes on him as well. He was the first penalty taker in that Spain Morocco penalty shootout. Man, ice cold veins to go first, going first. Man, that's scary. That's not fun at all. I tell people all the time, like, that first player that goes through, usually it has to be one of your premier penalty takers, because
if you miss,
he's setting the pace.
He's setting the pace. Tone. Yes.
Right. So a lot of pressure for him, but he nailed it, and hopefully he gets some more dollar signs, some ching, right? But let's talk about quickly go over some of these the top goal scorers that are potentially on the Golden Boot list, right? If I'm just going down, I got Kylian Mbappe, 5 goals. He's kind of leading the troops, and then you have.
I mean, if I can interrupt,
right?
I would think if France can hold on to the trophy this time around, Mbappe is probably going to be the Golden Ball winner as most valuable player.
Looks that way, but you do have Olivier Giroud, who also has 3 goals as well. He overtook Thierry Henry as the most prolific goal scorer in France history a couple games back, and he has 3 goals. So you never know. He's been playing. He's been doing his thing. Then you have young man we spoke about, 21 years old, Gonçalo Ramos, right, for Portugal. 21 years old.
What a debut. I mean, he comes out with a hat trick.
The whole situation with Cristiano Ronaldo and, being subbed out for him potentially, coach puts him in and says, it's your time, young fella.
It's your time to shine.
Come on now. How better than a hat trick?
Absolutely.
Come on, man. So,
Muqbil, I want to give a quick shout out
Absolutely.
for another young player,
Okay.
Bukayo Saka for England.
Oh, yeah?
21 years old.
Saka's a personal favorite of mine. I support the club team, Arsenal. So, that's my guy. So we knew Saka. We know. We know what this young man can do, for a while. So, seeing him do this on the World Cup stage is just, it's really amazing. And he's also another one of them that's in the race for that Golden Boot with 3 goals, right? It just depends on what happens in this French matchup.
Right.
If he gets a goal or 2, he's right in there. Man.
But I think this belongs to Kylian Mbappe, honestly. I don't see anybody taking it from him.
It's amazing what he's done at such a young age in 2 World Cups.
Right.
2. He had 4. He had 4 in Russia.
Right. Seeing him, especially that young, is when we really were truly introduced to him, right? So the
He
problem,
was 17 years old, right?
I think at the time he was 19 in that
19,
World Cup, so he's 23 now.
Yeah.
But still, I think he may have actually been 18 because his birthday's later on in the year. It's in December. It was a Summer World Cup. But nonetheless, first time seeing him and him really showing us that he really has everything you need from a guy in that position, getting it done, and then doing it on a follow-up.
Exactly.
Come on, man. That's the thing.
Absolutely.
We've seen one World Cup wonders. You know what I mean? Some guys who've come in and balled out. Next World Cup, not so much.
Yeah. And let's not forget, the French came here without Benzema.
Yes.
God.
What would have been the French team with Benzema?
But Benzema, not only Benzema, of course, Ballon d'Or, he's in top form. But Pogba injury as well, right?
Yes.
So they have some key players that are big
out.
guys that are out,
Yeah.
but still,
They're still,
but it's showing you the quality of that team and the depth of that team to be able to still say, look, we're missing out on
our
some
B
of our
team can still beat you.
Come on,
Well,
man.
let's put you on the spot, Muqbil. Who do you like in that England-France quarterfinal?
Ooh, that's a tough one. Saka, like I said, is my
I was
guy.
gonna say, because you guys in there.
Saka's my guy. But I will say this: the way that the French have been playing, especially another shout out, even though he hasn't been scoring goals, Dembele has been playing so phenomenal. Like, he is literally the workhorse for that team to create these goal opportunities for Kylian Mbappe. So for me, it's like, if the way him and Mbappe have been playing off of each other, it's difficult to say, I don't know who on the back end is going to stop that pace, because Dembele is no slowpoke either. He's got some pace too. So you try to stop him, Mbappe's over here, he's got you on the pace. What are you going to do? It's going to be tough.
Another prediction time.
Yes.
Jackson, I'm going Morocco, Portugal. Morocco, Portugal.
I'm going to give it to Morocco.
All right, I'm with you.
100%.
I'm with you, Jackson.
Up until this point, I think it's on goal. Nobody has called against Morocco. Okay, I don't expect it to start, soon. So I'm thinking they have this in the bag.
I'm
very confident.
There has to be a breakthrough in terms of an African team making it to that next level.
The next level, yeah.
And I think the Atlas Lions can do it.
Man, honestly speaking, I feel like I'm rooting for the Atlas Lions to go through. I love the fact that Croatia was able to beat the Samba Boys. It's anybody's game, and that's the thing. France versus England, even though I like the French to win, England's got so many stars, so you never know. You never know. That's the beauty of this game, though. That's the beauty of this game.
I'm with France on that one, though.
Yeah, no,
100%. I feel like France got this.
I think they do as well. But I still definitely think that you can't really you can't knock them out. You can't think that England is just going to be a pushover, because they've shown us that they have a lot of weapons, and all it takes is just one shot, as we've seen with Croatia. One shot.
Before the tournament kicked off, I remember Infantino, the FIFA president, saying, focus on the football, not on the politics and all the
Politics
problems.
is part of the...
Do you think the quality of the football has kind of pushed some of the negative things aside?
I think that's a great point, Sonny. You're right. Actually, this year we have seen some of most amazing soccer at the World Cup stage, and it has quieted down some of the politics, some of the noise, things like, we cannot drink alcohol here, or human rights and things of that nature. Right. So I think the game has actually really
Jackson,
elevated.
I love it. We could go on for days. You know how it is. But we are on goal with Sonny Muqbil and Jackson.
And Jackson.
Man, it's been a wonderful one. We'll be back on our next episode.